So to begin with, I would like to introduce Syed Yousuf Almuhafdha, a prominent Bahraini human rights activist, researcher, and blogger, currently living in exile in Germany as a result of his peaceful human rights work. It's a real pleasure to share the stage with you, Syed. To get things started today, I wanted to ask you if you could help provide some important context for us by giving your perspective on the events of 2011, as well as how things have changed on the ground in Bahrain over the course of the last 13 years, particularly in relation to issues addressed under the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, such as those relating to public participation, political isolation, independent civil society, media, and so forth. Syed, thank you so much. The floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. I really appreciate the opportunity provided by Salam to speak on the issue of depriving individuals of their civil and political rights, as well as criminalization of their guaranteed rights under restrictive laws, terrorist legislation, and other injustice status in Bahrain. And just to answer your question briefly, personally, I have participated in the peaceful movement or uprising in Bahrain in 2011 in Manama. And someone who has witnessed the events in 2011, I could say that it was a peaceful movement where the majority of the people in Bahrain went out to the street and called for democracy, elected government, released the political prisoner, and put an end to the discrimination against the majority Shia in Bahrain, equal citizenship, and gain some of their civil and political rights in Bahrain. The government has repeatedly suppressed the protest, where the Bahraini didn't achieve also their demands, and Bahrain, turned into a police state, where the government has eliminated all form of civic movement, expression, and anyone basically who oppose the government or criticize the government will be in jail or forced into exile like myself, or remain silent, as simple as it is. And also to answer the question of the event itself, do Bahraini have a voice? Absolutely no. Only the king, the government, military, and police, and anyone else, no. No one has any voice to speak in Bahrain. And also allow me now to present my which I will demonstrate three fundamental rights which are under systematic violation by government, which is contrary to its obligation as a part of ICCPR. Over the past years, many demonstrations were suppressed and excessive force were employed by the security forces. However, not all protests were met with force. The new government adopted a new tactics. For example, following any unauthorized demonstration, security official may summon or arrest key activists within 24 to 48 hours of the event. The government consent details both participant and organizer of the government. With this approach, the Bahraini government not only sidestep, they only want to sidestep immediate criticism for the mass suppression of the press, but also instead it employs a strategy for participant identification, followed by post-event harassment through summons, for example, threats, arrests, interrogation, and many other forms of reprisal. So, speaking of association, following also the arbitrary reservation of Al-Wafaq Society, which we mentioned already, introduction, and Wa'ad and Amal Society, Bahrain Center for Human Rights, and also shutting down of Shia faith-based organization. Also, again, a new tactics was used in terms of depriving individuals of their political and civil rights, which is the law 25/2018, which we call it as the activist isolation law, which target clearly members of previously dissolved political groups as well as former convicts. Even if an individual is condemned or convicted for exercising their political and civil rights, they are banned from being, for example, a board member of any society, and also being banned from running for the election in Bahrain. Additionally, also, the government employs, we call it kind of economic sanction by withholding what's so-called good candidate conduct certificate, a good conduct certificate from this group, which is issued by the Ministry of Interior. These certificates are very crucial for various aspects of civic lives. However, former prisoners like Father Abbas, Ali Haji, and many others have waited for months or even years for this certificate to be issued. The 25/2018 law has severely impacted the operation of any civil society organization and charity organization as well, such as, for instance, Bahrain Human Rights Society, the Bahrain Women Union, and Bahrain Society for Resisting Normalization, all of which have struggled to maintain their activities in the face of these restrictive laws. So that's just a very brief introduction about the right of association and assembly. Going to the second point, which is freedom of speech, also numerous laws in Bahrain have violated severely freedom of expression, effectively violating critics of the government. These laws include the Penal Code, counterterrorism legislation, press and publication regulation, and cybercrime statutes. The government of Bahrain actively monitors content shared on social media platforms and takes punitive action against individuals who express decent opinion. Consequently, a significant number of individuals are currently imprisoned on charges related to freedom of expression until now. And the government of Bahrain applies this law indiscriminately against all forms of opposition and critics and human rights defenders. Cases well documented like Bir Rajab, Yousuf, Brahim Sharif, Muhammad Al-Ghasra, and Ali Muhanna were a clear example where individuals have been prosecuted for exercising their fundamental rights to freedom of expression. On the contrary, the government tolerates online and offline hate speech and racism against the British Shia in Bahrain or the opposition group, including to clear tweets that call for violence against them, despite also officially claims made by lawyer and individual. But unfortunately, they are protected, enjoying culture of impunity, which reflected a state divide policy, divide and rule. Thirdly, the right to life. Since 2011, Bahrain court have handed down death sentence to 51 individuals with 6 executions already carried out. As of February 2024, 26 men remain on death row. All have exhausted their avenues to appeal. All of these individuals also were subjected to unfair proceeding. The court relied heavily on testimony obtained through confession under torture, consisting a clear violation of several articles of ICCPR, Article 6 and 14 and 7. Bahraini courts have failed to uphold fundamental rights to fair trial guaranteed in both international convention and human rights law, as well as Bahraini constitution. To conclude, these restriction laws should not be used as a pretext to restrict the freedom of expression, freedom of association, and peaceful assembly, and the right to life. Finally, our recommendation to the government of Bahrain, they should abolish the 2018 political isolation law, put a stop to the practice of Ministry of Interior of rejecting certificate of good behavior in order to punish previous opponent, provide all Bahraini individuals full legal, civil, and political rights. It should also restore previously dissolved political and human rights society, which was mentioned, lift all restriction opposed opposition figure regarding candidates in parliamentary and municipal election, end the restrictive measures that are harming the basic functioning of civil association, and release all the prisoner of conscience, abolish the death penalty and be part of ICCPR optional protocol, and finally restore the nationality of all individuals whose nationality were arbitrarily revoked by the King, Court, and the Minister of Interior. Thank you.